y'all, I'm Beth Albright, author of the Sassy Belle's trilogy. The second book is just about to release and it's called Wedding Bells, and there's a wonderful surprise in the bag for everybody. Take a look at that. The Sassy Belle Southern Recipe Sampler. So welcome today to my very own Sassy Belle kitchen right here in my own home, where I am going to make you up some Southern delicacies. My very favorite delicacy in the South of the whole wide world has to be fried green tomatoes. When I set foot in Tuscaloosa, everybody knows you better give me some fried green tomatoes because I'm having a fit. The recipe in here actually calls for 4 fried green tomatoes, 4 tomatoes that you're going to slice up. Believe me, that is not enough tomatoes to make up a batch of fried green tomatoes. So guess what I did today? I went to the farmer's market and looked at the green tomatoes I found. We're going to make us up a batch of fried green tomatoes. And right here in this book is the secret family recipe that we have had in my family for years. And guess what? You can get your hands on it on July 30th when Wedding Bells releases. Come on now into the kitchen and let's get these fried green tomatoes going. One of the very most important, most critical things I can explain to you about Southern cooking, you've got to have cornmeal. You can't fry things in flour in the South. Fried okra, fried squash, fried chicken. You've got to have cornmeal. We have tried fried green tomatoes all over this country, from New York to California, and my husband literally has to stop me from going back into the kitchen and going, "Excuse me, sir, Mr. Chef, do you not know about cornmeal? You cannot fry a fried green tomato with nothing but flour." So what you do is you're going to take a full cup of cornmeal, and you're just going to add 1/4 of a cup of flour. That's the secret to it, and mix it up really good. And then you're just going to do a little salt and pepper to taste. I like a lot of salt. And then there's some pepper, just to taste whatever your taste buds call for. Make sure that your mixture is very mixed up, and the best way to do that finally is with a fork. Once you've got it all mixed up like that, then you're going to take your cup of milk, calls for a cup of milk, and we're going to put that right into the bowl. Now, some people use buttermilk. I'm using buttermilk today. The recipe calls for regular milk. You can use 2%, 1%, fat-free, or buttermilk. That goes for all fried foods in the South. So you remember that. What we're going to do is we're going to slice the tomatoes and we're going to dunk them into the milk, dunk them into the mixture, and then we're going to sit them into our oil. All right, every good Southern kitchen needs a cast iron skillet. If you don't have one, it'll still work just fine, but I prefer to have a cast iron skillet, especially when I'm doing good Southern fried food. This calls for half a cup of canola oil. So what you want to make sure and do is, if you've got a really big pan, you might need more like me, but you want to make sure that it just covers the bottom of the pan and it's not going to completely cover your tomato. So we're going to let that heat up for just a few minutes, and I'll show you how to tell when it's ready. Alrighty, while the oil is over there heating up on the stove, the best thing to do is to get your tomatoes ready to go, so you have them all lined up. So get your sliced tomatoes all ready to go, and then you'll be ready when the oil's ready. When you're cooking with a cast iron skillet, you want to make sure your oil is ready for your fried foods you're about to fry in there. Just get a little water in your hand, throw it in there like that, and guess what? It's ready. What you want to do is take your slice of tomato, you want to get it nice and doused in the milk, and then you want to put it in your mixture over here. Make sure it's really good and covered in that good old cornmeal, salt and pepper to taste, and just a dab of flour. Then you're going to take your tomato. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering already. And you're going to sit it right down into the oil. Delicious. You can continue dipping your tomatoes in your milk and then in your cornmeal mixture, nice and covered. And use a fork. Don't use a tong because you will tear your tomatoes right up. A trick here is to make sure they don't touch and don't put too many in your oil. See how the oil is not covering the tomato? It's just barely on the bottom. When they've been in there a few minutes, you're just going to stick a fork right in it and you're going to turn it right over. See how nice and brown that's turning? Just wonderful. Make sure they don't touch. All right, the fried green tomatoes are frying up quite nicely. Do you see how I have them placed in here? They're a little bit spaced apart. Everything's getting cooked evenly, and nobody's touching anybody else. It's just like brother and sister. Don't touch me. So we're going to make sure these are doing just fine, and they have to be watched. It's not something that you can put in the pan and then walk away. These are looking nice and brown. Just perfect. The cornmeal is what is the trick, y'all. I'm telling you the secret right here. The cornmeal. All right, we're about ready to get these little babies out of here. Put them over here. This one looks like she's done. Delicious. And we are finished with what is going to be the first of many batches of fried green tomatoes this afternoon. I cannot wait to taste one. Oh my gosh, they've got to have fried green tomatoes in heaven. Thank y'all so much for stopping by my Sassy Belle kitchen today. I'm Beth Albright, the author of The Sassy Bells, a brand new trilogy that's out right now. This is the second book in the trilogy called Wedding Bells, and it is filled with secret family Southern recipes that I am happy to share with you. Don't forget, anybody can be a Sassy Belle. All it takes is attitude, a string of pearls, and maybe a cast iron skillet. We'll see y'all next time.